In February of 2022, I was driving through Midwestern US. Not sure how much detail I am supposed to put out, but I was approaching the outer limits of a bigger city in Ohio around 2 a.m. Out of cigarettes, almost out of gas, and still had about 3 hours left to get home. Google Maps said the next open gas station was a travel center on the other side of the city. Car said I had barely enough gas to get there, so I'm just trying to drive as conservatively as possible. Then, I see a brightly lit speedway that looked open. You can see it from the freeway. So I exit and go to fill up. I am the only car there. The pump does not accept my credit card and gives me an error each time I punch in my zip code. Okay, I figure it's the card reader, so I go inside to pay and ask the cashier for a pack of cigarettes. I am telling him the brand, but he finishes my sentence, then says, "I thought you were quitting," in a sort of joking tone, which my tired brain didn't think too much of, because a lot of places I regularly buy cigarettes from remember the kind I like and recognize me. And as a baby faced woman, I get a lot of comments and jokes about how I should quit. So I didn't think much of it until later, when I realized that I had never stopped there before and didn't recognize the cashier. Anyway, he rings me up. My credit card declines again. I pay cash and go on my way. Didn't think much of it again, except weird. That cashier must have worked at a different gas station where I have seen him before, and assumed that I must have tried my card too many times at the pump and it got locked for fraud or something. I drive the same route 2 or 3 more times in 2022. One time, I'm running out of gas in almost the exact same place, and I remember that speedway and which exit it was at. But as I approach the exit, during the day this time, there are no signs for the gas station, and you can't see it at all from the freeway. I assume I passed it or remembered wrong, but it's daytime now, and way more gas stations are open, so I just go to the one at the next exit. Then, in 2023, I end up moving to that city, and occasionally drive past that same exit, once in a while thinking, I swear, there used to be a gas station there, even though it would be kind of a weird spot for a gas station, on a large verge. This spring, they started construction in that exact spot. Now there is a speedway that hasn't opened yet. It looks exactly like how I remember, on the verge, retaining wall on one side and multiple one-way ramps entering and exiting the verge on the other side. I don't think I could have remembered that wrong. I can't help but wonder if I somehow glitched into the future. I went to a gas station 3.5 years ago that still hasn't opened yet. I think my card got declined because I moved, and the zip code for my billing address would be different now. Or maybe it was expired in the future. I am also kind of hopeful because lately I have been considering quitting smoking, but my quote-unquote visit implies that I keep smoking after the new speedway opens, at least long enough for the cashier to recognize me before telling him that I am quitting. I don't know. I am kind of scared to go there once it opens, and get a slight sense of dread whenever I drive past it. At the same time, I really want to sketch a picture or something of what it looked like from the inside, and then go visit to compare. It would be both vindicating and terrifying if it's how I remember from the inside as well. Either way, it feels like a sign from the universe to quit smoking. So maybe I'll just do that and never go back. So I have a second cousin who has been married to his wife for about 20 years. About 7 years ago, I went to a family reunion that he, his wife, and their 2 daughters were at. At one point, I was watching all of the kids, including my own. His daughters' names were Hannah and Haley. I spent time with those girls, and I took them fishing. My daughter remembers both of them because she was the older cousin. About 2 years later, I saw a post on Facebook that they had taken Hannah to Disney World. I was confused because I was like, where is Haley? I have seen and have taken pictures of her. My daughter remembers her. They posted lots of other posts where they were doing stuff with Hannah. So naturally, I asked them about Haley. They both stated that they did not have a daughter named Haley. I remember having a conversation with my cousin's wife about the spelling of their daughter's name. So I went back into my Google Photos to see if I could find pictures of Haley, and she was not there. My daughter had pictures of her in her phone as well. She was freaked out because those pictures were gone. Like the pictures were still there, but Haley was not in them. No one else in the family remembers her, even though some of the pictures were of aunts, uncles, and cousins with her. It's like somebody photoshopped her out of all the pictures. I am so confused, like what happened to her? How does this child not exist anymore that I remember fishing with? I even asked multiple family members if they knew any child named Haley because I thought, well, maybe she was somebody else's kid. No one knows who she is. And even my mom states that she does not remember that name. What the hell? Edit. To answer some questions, I noticed this about 5 years ago. I did do a deep dive into it. I googled things and the people involved. I found other girls with the same name, but none of them were her. I went through old photos as well. I was convinced something had happened to her and that no one wanted to talk about it. I asked so many other cousins, uncles, aunts, and Haley's grandparents as well. My daughter had taken a bunch of selfies with her cousins as they had camped out a couple of nights in the same tent. She was gone from all the pictures, even the one I had of her and my great aunt, of just the two of them. My daughter was 14 at the time, my son was 11, and he doesn't remember Haley either. The girl's dad does, in fact, boil fish. My cousin's wife did have multiple miscarriages after Hannah, and that's why she said they only had one child. Maybe she was a ghost? Or was it a different timeline in which they did have two daughters? I randomly met the same mysterious man in two different German cities. Then, something even stranger happened. I don't usually post stuff like this, but something happened during my recent trip to Germany, and it's been stuck in my head ever since. I feel like I need to write it down somewhere. Maybe someone has experienced something similar. So, a couple of weeks ago, I traveled to Münster to meet a close friend. One afternoon, we were chilling in a small, quiet park. Not a tourist place or anything like that. We were just laying on the grass when this old man, maybe 65 or 70, came up to us. He had green eyes, long hair, dressed normally, not homeless, but something felt off. He started speaking to us in a language that sounded like German, but it wasn't. He was talking super fast and making weird hand gestures, like a love sign, and movements that felt like he was trying to share energy or love with us. My friend whispered that we should just ignore him, that he didn't seem normal. So we did, and eventually he left. A few days later, we went to Berlin for a huge protest. There were like 60,000 people there. After it ended, we were laying down again in a random spot with other people around. My friend was talking to a girl, and I was on my phone. I randomly looked up and saw the same man from the park in Münster. Same guy, same face, same clothes, same hand gestures, and the same energy. I ran to my friend and told him. We were both shocked. We approached him, but he didn't seem to recognize us. Still, he did the same thing. Same weird speech, same hand signs. At this point, we were just confused and a little bit freaked out. What are the chances of running into the exact same man in a completely different city, doing the exact same thing? But that's not even the end of it. A couple of days later, we were in a bar. My friend went outside to smoke, and a man in his 40s came up to him and randomly started a conversation. Nothing too strange. Then, 2 nights later, we were at a club, and that same man showed up again. He walked past us, said hello, and sat somewhere not too close. About 40 minutes later, I suddenly felt someone tap my shoulder. I turned around, and it was the same guy, holding a pen, insisting that I take it. I told him no, it's not mine, but he kept holding it out toward me, like he really wanted me to take it. The vibe was really strange. My friend and I looked at each other, and we just felt off, so we left the club right after. Later, we kept thinking about it and wondering if these two guys were somehow connected. One kept repeating a message about love, the other kept trying to give me a pen, which felt more symbolic than random. Both appeared twice, both in completely different places, both out of nowhere. We are still trying to process it all. If anyone's ever had anything like this happen, I would love to hear your thoughts. We are open to any kind of interpretation, spiritual, logical, psychological, just trying to make sense of it. Glitch in the Matrix. This happened to me this weekend. So, this is a true story that happened to me this past weekend. And it made me feel like I was experiencing some kind of glitch in the Matrix, or that I was going crazy. A few years ago, I purchased two mountain bikes off a government auction website. They were used as police bikes in the local parks, and they were identical, blue and grey, GTs. I resold one and kept one. The one I kept later got stolen off my patio, but whatever, not the story. The one I had, I kept it for like 2 or 3 years. Sometimes I would keep them inside in a specific spot in my apartment. My fiance moved in with me almost 3 years ago when I would still use the one. So over the weekend, my fiance is going through her phone documents and pictures to do some stuff for her resume. No big deal. Then she calls me over and is asking me about the bike I used to have. She shows me a picture of the inside of our apartment where I used to keep the bike, and in the picture, there's a red mountain bike in the same spot I usually kept my bike. She's like, "When did you have a red bike?" I never had a red bike. I never rode with anybody who did, let alone let anyone else bring their bike in my place. It was in the same position as my bike would usually be in. Her and I both swear we never remember having a red bike in the apartment. I definitely never owned a red bike. It's not even a weird angle or glare or bad lighting. It's clearly a red and chrome mountain bike. I know it's a super dumb situation and unimportant to anything in my life, but it's been making me feel like I'm going crazy, or like there was some type of glitch in the matrix. Not really sure where else I can share this story, so I just wanted to get it off my chest and see if other strangers thought I was crazy. So, yesterday, me and my daughter gave a ride to a young woman because her groceries were heavy, and I could hear her ask for help to charge her phone so she could call a friend. Now, I am a woman running on 50, out with my teenage daughter. Of course, I was going to help, so I offered her a ride. It was not far, and her bags were really heavy. Now, we gave her a ride, no details exchanged, no names, no nothing. I then gave her the extra charging cable I had in my car because we have multiple ones at home. Anyway, today I was getting my kid from town. She had been shopping with a friend. I looked through our cable drawer to bring another one to the car because my battery was low. However, when I got to my car, There was an exactly similar cable already plugged in as the one I gave away. Same design, same amount of wear and tear. This young woman does not know where I live. She doesn't know my name, and I don't know her name either. My teenager also remembers very well that I gave the cable to this young woman. The car has been locked all the time. So, how did this charger cable reappear in my car?